Imagine if before we started talking about whatever we're going to talk about for this podcast, we had played audio clips from people that were doing races where they could emotionally talk about Levi's Gran Fondo or Sea Otter or whatever.
Hey Levi, I had a great time at the Gran Fondo. I did the 30 miler. Not much elevation, but my setup was on point.
I got passed by Lauren Stevens on the way for her winning ride, and I just thought about how amazing cycling in America is.
Yeah, it's funny watching Levi's Gran Fondo and you just are kind of entertained watching normies getting passed up on the course.
Man, so I was listening to my first of Paceit's podcast with the With Pace rebrand. I did not listen to the Allied one, but I started listening to his one that was uploaded recently. And it started with a story. And I think it was just one. I'm not sure. I was wearing my Shocks headphones and I keep the volume quite low for safety reasons. So I do miss a lot, but I think it was just one young woman. She sounded young and she told her story about Sea Otter and that's all he played. And I was like, okay, this is a nice departure. But while that was happening, I was riding on once again our local greenbelt trails and kind of the inverse of one of the last rides I had where I was kind of trading pulls with this guy and that was a fun exchange. This time I was riding by myself. And I guess it matters contextually. I was not riding my road bike or my gravel bike. I was riding my dad's gravel dad bike, a Salsa Cutthroat. It's like very slack. You're very upright on it. It's very, very normie coated. He just put the original mountain bike tires. Well, I don't think they're technically mountain bike tires. I don't know. Terravale Rutland 2.2s for all the tire heads out there. They're very slow. They have not that much traction, but are still very slow. Anyway, I was riding that bike because I wanted to hit some of the trails now that it's sort of like dad bike-ified again. And some of the trails I can't hit on my gravel bike, or it's asking a bit much for me to ride. But I was on the greenway, and this dude, actually, he passed me the opposite way, and I guess his turnaround point wasn't that far, because then all of a sudden he's behind me, and he's wearing the kit of a local, I don't know if it's a group ride or a cycling club or both or something. I feel like like road cycling in our city is kind of confusing. It's hard for me to wrap my head around because there's all these different clubs, all these different rides, but it's seemingly like the same 20 people. And he was wearing the kit of that club slash ride, who I guess is kind of like hitter coded. I don't know if you would say that. It's kind of like elitist roadie.
They're hitters, but they all only race themselves.
Right, yeah. And like I like some of the people that are in this like a lot. Like they're not like terrible people or anything, but I guess that is the reputation they have. But anyway, so he's behind me.
They also don't do anything that's endurance based. They're just like crit coded, I'd say. Crit
Right.
and
Yeah,
group ride
yeah.
coded.
No, yeah, totally. And he's behind me and I'm on this like dad bike setup. I'm going like max like 14 and a half miles per hour. Like, and he's like tucked in, and I'm so upright because that's just the geometry of the bike. And the bike, it is like a little big on me, so I'm even like more upright. And he's so close, and I'm about to turn off on these trails, and I'm trying to explore the ones that I'm not super familiar with. So I'm not going that fast. I couldn't even be if I wanted to, really. And I'm like not going that fast. I'm kind of like slowing down because I'm trying to see which trail they're not super obvious. They're not marked. They're more like social trails. They're just kind of like little paths cut into like tall grass. And he's just on my wheel. Like maybe he listened to last week's podcast where I talked about like drafting with that mountain bike. But like he's just on my wheel and I wave him through like to pass me and he does it and I look back again and he's just tucked in like he could see me wave him through and I'm like thinking to myself like what like does he think I'm like playing games or something like I want to draft like I'm not this is not what I'm doing right now and I wave him through again and then I say like I'm gonna pull off any minute like I'm not going to be riding on the paved part. Or I mean, I don't say that whole spiel, but I just say I'm about to pull off, and he doesn't do anything. So I like because he's like on my wheel, and I'm scared to slow down and do anything sudden. So I just pedal hard for a couple seconds to get some space, and then I slow down a bit, and he rides past me and like says something and gestures. Oh no, he went like whoa 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 whoa, like indignant at me and gestures and rides past, and I'm like, what just happened? It's very
It's
very
crazy
bizarre.
that some people are so like group ride pilled that like they don't want to do any work or something. Like you're on this like non-aero like dad core bike and it's just like, yeah, I better tuck in to save some energy on this ride that I'm
It's
doing by myself.
and like I waved him through twice, and I mean I didn't shout at him, but I also didn't whisper. I was just like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm about to pull off, and just
Imagine
still
if you weren't
like
mentally ill enough to imagine if you couldn't recognize his jersey and like you were just someone that was like, who is this like guy in a pro jersey behind me drafting me and yelling at me?
and that's too. I'm not. I'm wearing just like an REI wicking shirt and like shorts. Like I'm not even wearing bib. I mean, not that he could tell I wasn't wearing bibs, but like I'm clearly not wearing like I'm not wearing any map kit. I'll say that much. Or Rafa. Like, it was very weird interaction.
Yeah,
Just
it's
like
funny
just more
how
like tertiary city greenbelt adventures.
if you're gravel pilled, you're just like, hey, I ride alone. I usually go a bit slower than I'd like to see on my Strava, but also like I don't know, it's crazy to think that everyone's saving watts out there and just like people are just crazy. I don't know. I don't know what they want.
It's just such a weird place for it too. Like the Greenbelt Trail, and it just happened to be one of the more populated areas of it too.
Guys like that only ride on completely flat roads at 20 miles an hour in groups of 20 or more for only an hour. And then when they do a 60-mile gravel thing, they stay with the front group for like 13 miles and then just completely explode. Then you catch up to them and they just yell at you. And eventually you just drop them, even though you also kind of blew up too.
And it's just like, what are you? It is weird even seeing those guys out there. Like you rarely ever do. And seeing that kit in particular out there, it's just like, what? Anyway,
Dude,
maybe
when
he
I
should go to a. He should have. Maybe he was doing recover. It was like his Levi's Gran Fondo recovery ride.
when I was getting off the greenway the other day, some guy goes roaring past me on a triathlon bike in a pas normal mechanism kit. And I'm just like, are
Yeah.
you allowed to wear pas normal on a triathlon bike?
I don't think they would have fulfilled his order if they knew he was going to be doing it on a tri bike.
Dude, pas normal would end if somebody wore pas normal to like KONA. And I don't even know what KONA is. I just know everyone training is like KONA.
Yeah, man,
Speaking
it's
of
always something.
pas normal, how about Cecily Decker just like transitioning everything pas normal into Cecily Decker?
Ball, dude. Yeah, she got her own post on the Levi's Grand Fondo meme dump. I mean, if anyone is listening and doesn't know like the derivation of this podcast, I run a meme account called Holy Spirit of Gravel, and we just my fellow host, the Gravel Dad, and I just these are just what our phone calls sound like, and we just thought let's record it and see how many people that like will listen to us instead of going to therapy or something. They'll listen to this on their trainer rides.
Dude, just talking about the podcast. Yeah, what we're trying to do here is rewrite the narrative, much like Levi's Gran Fondo has. Road racing is back in America, and it's all due to an uncanceled former road rider, Levi Leifheimer. That's like funny that I don't get. Like I can't get who still like is catching strays from the Lance Armstrong era. It's like I think everyone's fine now. Like Lance has the podcast that's basically the source of every fucking news article you read is like Lance Armstrong says bois to like
Yeah.
Tadej Pogacar's recent effort. I don't know, like every headline is
Yeah.
like quoting his podcast, but I don't know, just it's funny. Everyone I think is like, I think doping didn't happen is basically all I can say.
Or or is like everyone did it, so then it doesn't mean anything anymore. That's like my, because I was not like, you're way more of like a Lance Armstrong era head than I am. I was just kind of a kid and we just watched it because we like bikes, but like my cousins and I never really understood what was going on. I don't think. I looked up Levi Leifheimer and like he's wearing like a yellow jersey in his Wikipedia picture and he looked like, if you showed me this picture a few years ago, I'd be like, is that Lance Armstrong? Like they look very similar to me.
Yeah, I feel like as being like getting into cycling, I think I thought Chris Horner and Levi Leifheimer were the same person, but one ended up with the most prestigious Gran Fondo in the world, and one ended up with a horrible YouTube channel that like he just screams over and has still photos of races, and he's like, I don't even know. Chris Horner's just
It is
like out of
it
control.
is crazy like how bad his YouTube is. It's like very funny. It
I
shouldn't be
watched
that
some of
bad,
them,
but
but like he also just like named one like content stream on his channel the butterfly effect, and he's like, today on the butterfly effect, and you're just like, what are you
oh my
talking
God.
about?
I've seen bits of it. I think maybe at your house, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't hate it. It is just it is kind of objectively bad, but it's fun.
he needs to pull a Lantern Rouge and buy the North American highlight rights, so he doesn't just have to have still photos of like Ben Healy attacking on the penultimate climb, and he's like, Ben Healy's being a real knucklehead right now, using all this energy.
Man, the funny thing about watching World Tour cycling, like at home with my dad, because he's getting into it now, and anytime he sees anyone in an EF kit, he just says, "Is that Lachlan Morton?"
It's the bit that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it's just like, no, Lachlan Morton was at the Hills last week. He was at Ski Otter this week. He's not at Amstel Gold a
Dad,
week later.
that's clearly Richard Carapaz, and he's racing gravel. Why don't you tell us why Levi's Grand Fondo is a big deal according to the media?
Well, okay, so I've definitely heard of it before, and I'm coming to everything through gravel, for the most part. I've heard of it before. Like it is not a name that I heard for the first time, or an event I heard of for the first time. But I guess because is it always the weekend after Sea Otter? I don't know, but my whole feed on the meme account, which is all follows events and privateers and other bike influencers and stuff, everyone was posting about Levi's Grand Font. Like, have they always had this really big prize purse? Like I don't know, but everyone was posting about it, and I'm like, okay, all the gravel heads are gonna be there. Like, wait, there's a live feed? Okay, I have to watch this. It was cool. It just seemed like, well, even before what it seemed like, everyone was super positive about it. They had Matt Stevens and Hannah Walker, who are like world tour announcers, and they were super bullish on it while it was going on. They were like, the community, this is great. This isn't like anything else. There's a party going on. Everyone's having a good time. There's something for everyone. And then you take a step backwards and you look at it, and it's like they're describing a gravel race. They show the men's and the women's, but there's particularly a shot of like the women going up a climb and passing a bunch of just like dads, and then there's like a Tesla trying to pass them on the other side, and it's like, this is a gravel race. This is a paved section of a gravel race, but the whole thing is a paved section. Like, yeah, it was great. It was community, it was bikes. It's like, this is America. You're never going to get the roads closed. Like you said, when we were watching it, you're like, they're never going to have people on the side of the road, taking over a climb and getting wasted all day and, throwing things at the riders. You're never going to have that kind of enthusiasm. But you'll get like, how many people? 5, 6 thousand people to sign up for this race. Like that'll happen.
Yeah, I think the thing they really hit you over the head with is like the largest prize purse in North America, which is
Yeah.
obviously valid, and also just it shows the level of participation you get from the best people in North America. Like if you subscribe to the Gravel Privateers are the fittest cyclists in North America and, non UCI World Tour Pro, then like you're just like, wow, well, I guess let's see if these guys are fast. So it's interesting to just see the talent pool where they did Sea Otter a week ago, and then they're like, yeah, I guess we're doing a road race.
Yeah, I mean, the live feed was a big, like, I just like see, I clearly like these people. Otherwise, I wouldn't, be this part of the sport and focus on them as much as I did on my posts. And so, one of the rare opportunities I get to actually watch them race. Like, it wasn't on gravel, but I still got to watch them.
Yeah, I think, the question is in terms of live amateur streams of cycling events, where does Levi's Gran Fondo rank against Gravel Worlds and Tulsa Tough?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, the
Because I,
thing
I
about,
think
like,
I think it's just more amazing that you could just turn on YouTube and it's like, I mean, it's pretty damn professional, honestly, for like, I don't know, being a nonprofit. Like you're just like, wow, it's crazy that I'm watching this live, and it's like
it,
ultimately an amateur-ish, setup, and it's allegedly not a pro race.
it's crazy to hear Hannah Walker, who like regularly calls, Demi Vollering and Cassiano Doma and Lotta Kopecky, all these names. It's crazy to hear her say Paige Onweller putting in a dig. You're just like, whoa, like that's cool.
Man, I wonder how they got Matt Stevens. Like, what level of accommodations in California wine country did they have to get that guy? It's just crazy. You're
Yeah, the
one.
price purse could have been 175,000, but they had to pay for their they had to pay these two.
It feels like it. Or like one day you're doing a cafe ride with Tadej Pogacar, and then the next you're interviewing like a North American continental team scrub who got like third place, and it's just like that was an absolute mega effort, and you're just like, you don't have to sell this so hard. Like this guy's
Yeah,
gonna be back. This guy's gonna be back at the bike shop in Tucson like tomorrow.
yeah. Yeah, and it was funny how like at the end Keegan like clearly didn't know those guys' names like at all. Like, I mean, why would he? But that was he's like, yeah, and those guys were doing great, and I thought those guys, I thought they were gonna stay away, and then that one guy was
I mean
name was,
that's
the funny thing is Sophia, this like she couldn't remember one of the other girls' names that was up there in that top chase group chasing Lauren Stevens. And then there was a comment. I only got in the live chat towards the end because that is one of the things about it being on YouTube. Like we were watching it on TV, and then I was gonna get screen caps for memes, and then I realized there was a live chat, and someone in the live chat was like, "Sophia's so disrespectful. She doesn't remember their names." And I'm
that's
sure that
awesome.
same person probably didn't have the same complaint about Keegan, but I don't know. But that was funny. They were really people were really heated. Like people seemed very offended that Sophia was mad at the end. And I'm just like, I think it's cool that she was mad. Like let her be
Yeah,
mad.
but wait, one other. As I was doing research for the pod, I feel like we'll start with
Yeah.
the men. I have a few riffs. Like
Okay.
there, like a lot of the pre Grand Fondo hype was that Luke Lamperti was going to participate. Sudal Quick Steps, Luke Lamperti, and then
Yeah.
when I was googling, like, did he wasn't in there because they would have said his name like 1,000 times. Like
Yeah.
oh, a world tour pro like came to this Grand Fondo. Um, but apparently he did Roubaix and just DNF'd Roubaix and didn't come, which is hilarious too. I mean, road cycling is back. It's like, yeah, maybe not. Like, just so funny. Yeah, but
Go
like
on.
Luke Lamperti, he like does Tulsa tough and like just like wipes the floor with everyone. So it's just funny. Like you respect him for doing the American pro am vibes, but it's also just I would have liked to have seen the how close Keegan is to a world tour pro.
Yeah, like isn't Luke Lamperti's thing, he's like the crit head world tour guy?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And
Like,
even I feel like
yeah,
all the previous years, Levi's Gran Fondo before Keegan won it last year was, I feel like it was all the crit heads like making a big deal about it. Like I feel like
really? Seems like
that
a
was
pretty hard race for crit head. It's just
maybe
like
I'm wrong. I don't
that
know.
elevation.
It's just so roadie coded and based on like the YouTubers who made a big deal about it previously. But
Yeah,
I only care because of gravel, much like you. It was just
yeah, that's
it's
me.
in the '80s when every dome was called the eighth wonder of the world or something. You know, like they just named anything that was a spectacle the eighth wonder of the world. It's like this is the seventh lifetime Grand Prix race in my book.
Big good one. Yeah.
Here's
No,
some.
it is just crazy how like the zeitgeist that is non-World Tour racing in America. It is gravel, but it's just like they all decided to come this year. Like, is there all a big group chat where all the lifetime privateers, whoever, are just like, yeah, guys, we're doing Levi's. Like, I don't know. It's interesting.
I'm glad you asked because as I was doing some research for the pod once again, as more of the producer than the talent, you know, this the first place got 25K, whereas the Sea Otter winner got $5,000.
Yeah.
So it is interesting. Just like you kind of have to go if like you're a serious watt pusher in America, like um, who can climb, right? I just and I think as I was doing more research, they made a big deal about Unbound and Leadville getting prize purses for the first time ever, and it's the same 5,000, 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000 for the top five. And it's
Hmm.
like, you know, I don't know, it's just so much effort, you know, for an individual race versus the lifetime Grand Prix. You win 200,000, or the prize purse, I believe, is 200,000 across genders, down from 300,000 last year. Thanks, Mazda.
Yeah.
But like if you're just ultimately, if we define a privateer as being someone in a van with a YouTube channel and an Instagram, it's like you got to at least go where the money is, you know, and that is definitely the case with Levi's Gran Fondo.
So do we need to take it upon ourselves to, outside of the Lifetime Grand Prix, have our own ranking where we track all the money every privateer has made, and then the Holy Spirit of Gravel ranking will be the true who's the best privateer by how much they, because there's other races too that have payout. Like does Belgian Waffle Ride have a payout? I'm not sure.
No, I mean I think
There are other races like
what we've loosely talked about is the Gravel Data Project. If anybody wants to help us with this, by the way, just message the account. But we basically want to create our own rankings, like total losers. But it's like we basically weight every race, like Rattlesnake, Gravel Worlds, the Belgian Waffle Rides, Levi's Grand Fondo, and we also track engagement of content as well.
that's a
So
big one. That's a big one, yeah.
it might even be 50%. It's not even just about results.
Yeah,
It's
dude.
called the Dylan Johnson equalizer. Just level the playing field.
Yeah,
You know, now that Alexi and Keegan really upped their game because they want to do better in that category as well.
yeah.
What's the name of their show again?
The cool down, I believe.
Dude, they should have called it the warm down to be more cyclisty.
Man, I haven't seen the most recent one. I didn't we I think we fell asleep on your couch watching it.
Yeah, I think they were like passing their little microphone, and I was like, "That's sweet."
The little DJI mic. I need to get one of those for
I
Unbound.
mean, I support just the like rawness of it, obviously, but it's just a
Oh
very
yeah,
funny.
of course.
It's
Like
just funny to imagine somebody like truly watching it and being into it. I don't know
I
why.
watched the first one and I felt like I was into it. Like I just appreciate how Alexi Vermeulen and Avery are able to like pack in so much in like relatively short videos. Like they are not long videos. And I like that. I know that first one was like, because it's like I'm like, oh, they're sitting here, like okay, like there's not going to be other video in it, which is fine, but it was like 11 minutes, 10 minutes long, and it's like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, I have some other. Let me close out some other male notes. Male race.
Yeah.
Um, Lesby got 11th.
Hmm.
Griffin
Was
Easter really showcased on the live stream. I'd say he might have been the real winner of the day.
that might have been my favorite part of the live stream. They did not cut away, and he's just there, and then you see that his chain is tangled, I think, before he sees it. That's like that what a beautiful moment. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was also due to an amateur live stream only having. They had three total cameras, one with the men's race, one with the women's race, and one probably just like getting frenetically radioed to go here and there. And Griffin Easter just got his own camera guy for like 5 minutes, it felt like.
How many times have I said, like, with gravel races, or Unbound in particular, which is known for, like, high mechanical risk. It's like they always show bits and pieces. Like there'll always be like those ATVs with the cameras on them, like riding past or driving past someone that's like trying to fix a flat. It's like, no, stop. I want to see the person try to fix a flat. Like, not because out of some like, I want them to feel like embarrassed or shamed. I'm just curious. Like, I want to see what it's like when they're in a high pressure situation, professional rider trying to fix a flat as fast as they can and, continue on with their, goal of doing as best as they can at the biggest gravel race in the world. So because of that, I really appreciated getting to see Griffin Easter for like a solid like 180 seconds trying to fix his messed up chain.
Dude, us, if we had a Midwestern gravel podcast, man, Matt Stevens saying that Griffin Easter is having a mechanical was not on my 2025 gravel bingo card.
Man,
Very
yeah.
bad.
There'll be
Chad,
a whole episode we go to where we go down the whole like pre-COVID gravel media pipeline.
anyways, that's a whole wormhole. But
That's a whole other.
Chad Haga got 30th. Wasn't he second at Unbound last year? Is that
Yeah,
right? Um,
I forgot about that till you said it just now. I saw that somewhere. Yeah, he got. Yeah,
just more of
was
like
Lachlan Morton there?
a data point for the season. I don't know why. Just and then another one, another name, 54th place, Tyler Williams. Isn't he like basically like a Legion guy? So in my head, the math is like, hey, man, gravel racers are so much better than crit guys. Like crazy. Like 54th.
Or it's just that like, I mean, yeah, that's like the joke way to take it, but it's also just like all these guys are really good, and some of these things are like a crap. Like there's a lot of good guys that can beat each other on a given day. Like I don't know.
I really. I just know that Tyler Williams is not a Williams brother, and that's how I remember him. He's just on their teams or something.
Ted King got 39th. Is he gonna make a YouTube video about it?
I'm sure. I'm sure he has a lot to say about it.
He said, I think he's the oldest person. I'm not seeing anyone else that's 40 plus, which is, it has their category ages. I'm not being ageist. I'm just looking. He's 40 plus. Oh no,
I mean,
a couple other guys are.
another one I wrote down from the women's race. Heather Jackson got 28th. Shout out to Heather Jackson. Is she doing Lifetime? I didn't see her at all in the
No,
first video.
we, we miss her. I miss her. She was one of the only women that did vlog content. Her presence will be missed.
Yeah, it was
And
pretty
she
dramatic,
she
but
was
still.
she seemed, yeah, I liked it. She seemed cool. Like she was sort of like a, I don't know. She had the whole like rocker chick thing going on. Like the like
Yeah.
performance athlete meets rock. Like
Is it official that Matt Beers is the new Tobin?
that was my first thought, was how much of the 25K is Matt Beers going to get? Surely he gets a cut. They they said it as if they had a pact, and they're going to chase down these two guys, and these two, I don't know, local hitters that made it up there. One of them was Irish. They're going to chase down these two guys and see which one of them can get it. But it really looked like Matt Beers was leading out Keegan. That's what it looked like. I don't. That's from our end. So yeah, does he get a cut of the 25K? Tobin DNF'd. Apparently, Tobin was in a group ahead. I remember that was mentioned in the first few minutes of the cool down episode 2 that I didn't finish. Something about Tobin being strategy, but he DNF'd according to the and I think I saw him at the finish line at the end. So a true was Tobin just sent up the road or something? Had to break it up a bit, and then he just DNFs. I don't know, but I do know that there was some Mog Mog guys that did that for Alexi. I heard, but
Yeah, I mean, you know, team tactics are just making their way into gravel because I consider Levi's Gran Fondo to be a gravel race. The other
I mean
thing about
it is in spirit. It is in spirit, definitely.
like the whole Matt Beers Keegan thing is also the funny narrative of just like the only way any announcers know how to talk about it is like they sure got to know each other super well during Cape Epic, and you just keep hearing that, and you're just like, I feel like that's saying more than it should or something. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean that was it was also cool having like marquee announcers, but they clearly don't know more than like the Grodio podcast hosts who did the Gravel Worlds who like actually know who all these people are,
Yeah,
but
you're just surprised to hear them say any privateer's name. Like, you just, you're just very shocked.
yeah, this whole sub niche of a sport is so small. It's like hearing them say a privateer's name is almost like hearing them say like I don't know, a family member's name or something. I'm like I get excited. I'm like, "Whoa, that's so cool."
So, why does it feel like the whole women's peloton is upset when Lauren Stevens wins?
There is something to it, isn't there? It does one of the things where you always you could only say like it's always something. I feel like there's always something whenever she wins. And I say this as I met Lauren Stevens at Rattlesnake, and she's so damn nice. Like I not even her and I were talking, nothing to even do with the beam account or anything. But like her and I think she's just thought it was cool that there was, she saw me as like a young woman, like really passionate about this sport. And I'm not particularly skilled or anything, but she was like telling me what crits to sign up for, and I was like, I'm not gonna go to a crit. But she was really nice, really cool, very gracious. Like did not like throw her weight around or anything. But yeah, there was controversy with this one. Something about in the feed zone, she didn't dispose of her feed, like her musette bag properly, or some garbage
Wait,
properly,
I
and
need to add some gravitas to this scoop.
mm,
So, Sophia, did you see? I'll do the thing where like there's a dramatic vertical video, like podcast recap. It's like, did
yeah,
you see when Sophia crossed the line at Levi's Grand Fondo? She was absolutely livid. No one knew what she was saying, but some people were saying,
yeah. She was upset that. Well, I don't. Okay, so at the end,
no, we don't know what she was up. We're trying to string together a theory based on like it looked like Sophia was
yeah,
yelling
yeah,
when she crossed the line, where she's generally pretty reserved and happy, I'd say, but she was just like clearly explaining something like that just
yeah, yeah.
happened
She
in
was
the heat of the
explaining something
moment.
to. Yeah, she was explaining something to her team, her people, and like some of the other girls tried to go up to her and be congratulatory or and she didn't. I don't know. She kind of like she didn't like brush them off, but she was just focused on whatever she was talking about. It about Lord Stevens, you know, kind of quote unquote cheating in the feed zone. Like, she didn't dispose of her musette bag or her garbage properly. Or was it because the chase group wasn't organized and they couldn't work themselves together to catch her, which they probably could have if they were working
But
together, but
only one Conti girl was working with her. It seemed like, after all, just funny. that
Yeah, and
that girl, I kept calling her by her wrong name, Allie or something.
yeah, she could. That was the one whose name she couldn't remember. But I mean, yeah, I don't know but what she was upset about exactly. But she was upset, and I only saw that part of the chat at the end. That's the only time I like went into it on my tablet. But people were kind of digging in on her, which, you know me, I always have an aversion to because I'm like, let her be mad if she's gonna be mad. Like, let her have a personality. You know, she didn't like do anything amoral by being upset about whatever. And then I mean, at the podium, she seemed, fine. But Lauren Stevens, it's always something.
Yeah, it's like everyone respects Lauren Stevens and knows she's really good and clearly
Of course,
deserves
yeah, they all
to win
respect
to
each
win
other. Yeah.
races. But I don't know. It's just funny that like every time she wins, there's always sort of a qualifier as to why she won. Like it wasn't just talent and training. It's more of like something happened and we might have to stop cross gender drafting in next year's Grand Prix. It's just like I don't know. It's just crazy. Just I don't know. I feel like you have to be a strong person to kind of just win and to just only hear shit from it.
Right, to truly not care and not change your ways and not, I don't know, try harder to fit into whatever the meta narrative about rules are and all that. Like, yeah, I respect her for that. And they all respect each other. Like, it's such a small scene, and she's clearly like very good and deserving and all that. I feel like if I was a pro, I'd probably do things like like accidentally or something, but I could totally see myself like, I don't know, being that gray area person that pisses people off or something like that. Like, yeah, man.
Yeah, I think Americans don't enjoy racecraft and they only like enforcing rules. Is just a deeper theory I have. Like winners
Yeah,
find a way to win, you know? I don't know. I mean,
that does definitely seem like something that is more tolerated in the European space, like being crafty. Yeah,
right,
I can
right.
see that. I can see that. Side note, Lauren Stevens' husband name is also Matt Stevens. Just a little tidbit.
Man, I wonder if Matt Stevens filmed a cafe ride with Keegan Swenson while he was in America.
And then instead of actually talking, Keegan's just playing Blink 182 on like the Bluetooth speaker that's in his burrito bag on the front of his bike.
He's like, "Tell me about when Enema of the State came out. How old were you?"
How old was Keegan? How old is he now? Let's see. Keegan Switson, born in 1994. When did Enema of the State come out? 1999.
Wow. I mean, I kind of this kind of does make sense. Maybe I guess his parents were just real blink heads or something.
I mean, like I said, my dad took me to see Blink 182 and I was like in the third grade or something. And he definitely was not he like very much hated that music.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger themes of Levi's Gran Fondo, if you just read like mainstream media, is that somehow it's this indicator of road cycling's potential or road cycling being back, or it's a shame that the Tour of California or Larry Miller's Tour of Utah no longer go on because they were wholly economically unsustainable. But this event, I think this might be the way forward for road cycling. Like road cycling matters, which is, I think, the Grand Fondo did matter and the race mattered and however many thousands of people signed up for it mattered. But I think the media just gets it wrong about cycling in America and needing to revive road cycling. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, and no, I do think like I don't think anything is ultimately like gonna change. Maybe you just have more of these kinds of events, but we're not gonna have World Tour racing, in the European model ever in this country. I really don't see that happening. So, I mean, I think it's just showing that gravel is the way to go, whether it's gravel as a spirit is the way to go, whether it's paved or not. I do think before we even get to reviving, road cycling in America, it's like we need to be able to ride more without getting run over by F-350 trucks. Like that, I feel like that's more important to regular people than having more Levi's Gran Fondos throughout the world and getting wowed fan art
Yeah, I
to
think,
come here.
if you just dive into the data of what made it successful, it's prize purse, money talks. That gets the best talent there. That matters. I assume time, how close it is to sea otter, and the bike industry lingering around another week, and also just the Fondo method. Gravel races are Fondos in a way, right? Like
Yeah,
they're
absolutely.
hyper inclusive. Lots of people go to them, and they all tell their story, even if they're just scrub gravel dads like myself. They're like, there's a connection to it. It's not, you know, people aren't going to take their kid to the side of an interstate to like watch like Remco Evenepoel go by or something. Like that's
No,
just
of course not. That's
never
never gonna
that's
happen
never
here.
going to happen. So I think that's just when you say the spirit of gravel. I think the setup of the event, or like what the model is the gravel model.
And who what like when they say like when you talk about the YouTube broadcast and who watched it, people like you and me watched it. And Matt, I was checking every once in a while how many people were watching it, and never saw more than 3K watching that. And I'm not even trying to say that's too little or something. Like, great, I'm surprised 3,000 people were watching that, but that's not like anything that means it's going to be on Peacock and it's going to get all these big. It's just it's great, that these guys, the guy from Ireland and the other guy, what was his name? Marcus Shelton. It's great that these guys got TV time, although I don't know that it's TV time. It was on my TV, and people like you and me were watching it, you know? I don't think that speaks to something greater. It is funny, though, how a lot of something I did get from all the accounts, the privateer accounts that I follow, was how many, it kind of got masked off how many gravel riders actually hate gravel because there was so much of like, so great to be back on the road from a bunch of people that are making their name as privateers now. That was pretty funny. It's like, oh, okay, you actually really hate riding on unpaved surfaces. That's cool. I
Do,
respect it.
don't you wish you had to buy a Flow Bike subscription to watch this for $30 a month?
It's insane. Like, I mean, I always forget that Flow Bikes doesn't have like the 7-day free trial. I've never seen that before, and it always starts at like $59 a month, and you're just like, what? Do people actually buy this? Like, there's only so many subscriptions that we can like set. There's only so many 6 to 8.99 subscriptions that like I can get through the Apple TV Apple Pay on my dad's credit card. Till he'll start to notice something like Flow Bikes. I can't get away with that one. But I did figure out how to put Tiz cycling on my tablet and broadcast it to the Apple TV. So that was cool. I know how to do that now.
Yeah, I mean, I think just these independently broadcasted events are just going to be an interesting space to watch because it's clearly probably expensive to do if Lifetime hasn't done it yet. But just like
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
what the ROI is on, like, there's probably some really smart people with small production teams that can do it, but like you have to, I think it's the future, but it's like also something that somebody has to kind of commit to do 5 years in a row or something, which I
Who is
imagine is just,
funding who is truly funding Levi's Gran Fondo? Is this some like shadow government? Is it a drug cartel or something? I say that as it funds at-risk youth and all these worthy causes. I don't know.
I mean, it is just also interesting that like people want cycling to be a model that works, but like we're talking about seemingly a non-profit being like the biggest bike race in America, and it's like that says something as well, in my opinion. Like, no one's going to make a business out of this because it's not a real business. Much like gravel races are just like crazy guys who love gravel that like want to build the next Mid South to be the next Bobby Wintle or something. It's just, it's driven by very different things, not being a business model that prints money.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the people most interested and willing to put our time into watching this stuff, people like you and I don't have the purchasing power that that they might like us to have, you know. And I mean, the people that do have the money to throw will only just buy whatever Dylan Johnson says. I don't know that it matters what anyone else
Uh,
is advertising.
2 days later, the Levi's Gran Fondo live stream uploaded to the Bike Monkey YouTube channel has 44,000 views.
That's great. What is
Yeah,
the
it's like,
Bike Monkey?
that's
I
the
did see
dude.
that it was on the Bike Monkey Inc. What is that?
Bike Monkey. Well, damn, Bike Monkey is a professional event planning and production company with more than 20 years experience designing, planning, and executing complex road and off-road cycling events. Is in the United States is our jam. I mean, shout out to Bike Monkey. I mean, for real though, like you're probably some of the smartest people in the world to do what you did with probably not enough money to do it. Like, and
I
you're
can't
probably just
even wrap my head around it.
you're being told by Levi Leifheimer, like, yeah, this is a passion project. Like, it'll lead to something. And then, like, nothing ever happens. I don't know. I mean,
How
they
how
have
how much
890
does
subscribers.
how much do you think it costs to hire Bike Monkey Inc.? I want to hire Bike Monkey Inc. to come to a normie race and then also hire, if only I was some kind of nepo baby, with some massive inheritance to some, like a Vanderbilt or something like that, or a Walton family member, but instead of funding the rise of Bentonville and cycling, I could just get Bike Monkey to come to Rattlesnake Gravel Grind, and also get in some British World Tour announcers to come in too.
Can we get Lifetime to just pay Bike Monkey? Or, like, I need to see one of these Lifetime races live, not on Instagram, is all I want.
I want it on my TV. I want to be on Instagram. I want to have my tablet on the other on the men's feed, have the women's feed on my phone. I want to be completely plugged in. Like when they have a dystopian, whenever they put the image of a dystopian future and it's just like someone in a dentist chair with all these wires plugged into them and like screens all around them, completely like in the Matrix mainframe. I want that, but for a gravel race, have like every single view at my disposal.
Dude, Matt Stevens has to be the nicest guy to go from like Eurosport production to like talking to the PA for Bike Monkey. And he's just like, yeah, go interview that blonde guy, that one over there. Pretty amazing, honestly.
Yeah, Matt Stevens, it's just like goes from calling world tour races. So then like the biggest names at these things are former domestiques from like 6, 7 years ago. Or, Keegan Switson and Matt Peters and Sophia and Lauren Stevens.
I wonder if Matt Stevens and what's the girl's name again?
Hannah Walker.
I wonder if they're into Euro gravel or just American gravel.
I don't know, it depends how much they're into like alt house DJs. I don't know, that might be a step too far. American gravel might actually be more their speed.
I was noticing one of the sponsors of Levi's Grand Fonda was Best Day Brewing, which is a non-alcoholic beer competitor to Athletic Brewing, which was kind of funny.
They didn't give him, wait, what was it called?
Best Day Brewing.
Best Day
It's
Brewing. Yeah, they didn't give him any Best Day Brewing to chug on the podium.
dude. Should we talk about Amstel Gold? Just like normie cycling podcast humor.
Remco lost and was mad. He pulled a Sophia, as they would say. I'm trying to think, wait, did I watch it?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like, did I watch it through like YouTube osmosis or
Yeah, I can't
did I
even
watch it
remember if I
live?
actually watched it or not. I know, I mean, I can't even remember. I saw it, but I don't remember if I watched it.
Wait,
Yeah?
I was gonna, one of the funnier things about like the amateur live broadcast, which was amazing, is that they did the men's and then the women were like an hour behind, it felt like, I think. And like Matt Stevens and his co-host, who I keep forgetting, they had to like be broadcasting for like 7 hours. Like it was just,
Yeah.
it was a real slog, like some real pros of just like go from one race to another. And the last, I mean, after they got past the like selective climb, it wasn't necessarily like a compelling race on the flatlands heading back into town past the McMansions of
Yeah,
California.
I was about to say, and there wasn't even like medieval cathedrals or anything to comment on. Aerial footage, of some ancient like Habsburgian estate or something like that. It was just suburban, yeah, McMansions. Is Windsor, California, the new home of American road cycling?
When is Levi Leifheimer gonna transition his Gran Fondo success into YouTube slash podcasting success?
Good question. We should have him on the pod. I'll use Chat GPT to formulate a good pitch for him to make him think that we're actually legit and we can have him on.
Dude, speaking of disgraced World Tour pros, didn't Floyd Landis have like a Leadville era, like when before like Leadville was cool or something?
I have no idea. I do remember he was in a gravel race and that was like 3 years ago or something. And that was a big deal and then you never heard about him riding gravel. He did like one race or something. Or
I,
maybe it was Leadville. I don't know.
man, just like Googling like a 2021 story, like Floyd Landis on racing, right? On riding, racing again, and creating a gravel team. Oh yeah, Floyd's of Leadville. Anyway, this is just like such a wormhole, but I think there was also like a Lance doing Leadville media cycle as well. But I don't know. It's kind of crazy, just like gravel before it was cool or whatever. Like it was just this.
When the biggest media voices in gravel were Gravel Guru YouTube. But
Shout
yeah,
out
that's a
to
complete
Gravel
different
Guru.
wormhole. Shout out to Gravel Guru, dude. Does he still have the microphone, the hat, and the jacket?
Oh, dude, Lance Armstrong wins Leadville in record time, and he was riding for Mellow Johnny's.
I bought a pair of Castelli gloves from Mellow Johnny's once, a couple years ago, and the Velcro doesn't work anymore. That's all I have to say about Mellow Johnny's.
So there were these things called Live Strong bracelets, and they were hotter than even Tamagotchis or Pogs.
I do remember those. U.S. Postal Service Pro Cycling Team. It just died after 2007.
Dude, remember when
Okay.
like Live Strong bracelets, like some kid in your class showed up with one and like you thought they were rich or something?
And you're just like, where do you get those? I remember when like the schools started making their owns and it would just be like, go Tigers.
That was before wokeism killed plastic or something. Everyone was just happy to support American road cycling because that's why they wore Live Strong bracelets.
I'm looking at like the final squad for the U.S. Postal Service Pro Cycling Team that ended as the Discovery Channel team. And every name I'm clicking on the names I don't recognize. So not Contador and not Levi Leifheimer, George Hincat. Like I recognize some of these names, but I just click on a few that I don't, and it all says doping scandal, doping scandal.
Dude, all those guys whose names you don't recognize could have raced gravel if they were around now.
Whatever happened to Didi the Devil? Did he die?
Do you know if Sepp Kuss is going to be good this year? Just like the extent of what an American cares about road cycling is like, that's really the only question they have.
Look, here's my thoughts on Seb Kuss, okay? It was cool that they let him win, what was it, the Vuelta? But every true American cycling fan knows Seb Kuss's place is as Jonas's slave, you know?
Everyone knows, everyone who did the Tucson group ride in 2022 knows Matteo Jorgensen was always the talent of the generation. So it's no surprise to see him up there in most of these races.
Imagine if our podcast was unironically like that.
It sounds plausible. It does sound like conversations people have had. Like, at elevation, oh yeah, I take Sep in a minute. But if I want to win a 7 day or a Grand Tour, I'm going all in with Matteo.
I mean, I think you could fit right in with what's his name when they do the studio for the Tour de France when they start they pull up like the graphics and they start moving the cyclists around on like that digital table thing. You could fit right in there.
So the guy in the front is doing so much more work. So if you're the leader of the team, you want to be tucked right in behind. You want to be able to see and stay out of trouble, but you don't want to be doing that work.
Dude, I could see you go tag teaming with Christian Vandeveld.
Yeah, I mean,
Me, they'd never let me on because I'd say something like, it'd be like the Amstel Gold, like the Amstel Gold podium comparison went kind of viral because the
yeah, I
women
think,
just chugged the beers and the men just kind of like autistically didn't know what to do with them and just put them down. And I'll be like, wow, these are some like male pro cyclists are all incels, and female pro
wait,
cyclists
can
are all
you,
Stacy's.
while you have the computer, can you Google if Christian Vandeveld had a doping scandal attached to him too? Because now that this is all coming back, I feel like there was an era where like Lance killed the careers of people like for a while before he got caught, and like he just ended a few people, assuming everyone cheated, and by cheated I mean made America proud. But I don't know. It's just funny back to the Levi thing. Like who? I mean, maybe that's why gravel caught on because like all of the boomers, they're cycling. Besides Greg LeMond, I guess like their whole life was a lie.
I just
Lifetime Grand
assumed they
Prix
all
has
doped.
has doping controls, right?
I think so. Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure. If they don't, then I don't know. I feel like I need to get in there, so I need to get in on this game somehow. If they don't, I'd be a perfect plug. I'm discreet. People will listen. People will have me around just to listen to me riff, knowing they can get something out of me. Much like people let drug dealers hang around for a bit and just yap. I could definitely see myself filling that role.
Dylan Johnson's final move is selling a supplement that would get you a UCI ban but wouldn't get you a gravel ban.
Yeah, Flow Formulas is working on something. They'll have it at the feed under the gravel tab, but you have to make sure you're only riding gravel if you use it.
Dude, do we all dream of the day where every rider with the feed helmet has to issue an apology of just like, hey guys, was a huge fan of the feed when they first started, but some of the stuff they did, we just cannot stand by.
Man, the more feed helmets I see out there, the less I want to use the feed.